Welcome to All In Magazine, the publication doing things different. We are an in-depth story-sharing magazine with the truth of the matter at the heart of everything, always in all ways. A no-holds-barred, fully experiential space where you can read, watch and listen to some of the most authentic humans sharing their stories, dropping wisdom and cultivating a community you always want to be part of. Are you ready to go all in?
Welcome to the All In Magazine Show. I'm Rich Bontrigger.
And I'm Sandra D. Robinson.
And we're in for a treat today as we are premiering the All In Magazine Show. And Sandra, we just had a new president get inaugurated.
Yes.
We've got a bit of a change in the states here that racial tensions are going up. Nationalism is kind of shaky. What's kind of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's so interesting that we have the guest that we have today because he comes from a different culture.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that before as we were getting ready for the show here. And it'll be really interesting to see because Americans tend to be very outspoken. We choose our sides and we almost tend to stick in the mud there. And we've been fighting each other a lot. That's kind of what I sensed for all this time leading up to this inauguration, which just occurred. And so I, for one, am hoping that we can find some actual reaching across the aisles, that we can actually have some peace. I mean, our president said he wants to be known as a peaceful president. He's not going to be a pushover. We know that from previous experience.
No, not at all.
But I look forward to that possibility, and I welcome that possibility. I'm for one, I'm tired of all the hatred and the separation and all of that. So I'm excited.
Well, I'm also interested in the whole nationalism thing because I think here in the States, we are so divided right now.
Yes.
And the racial tensions feel like it's 1962 all over again for some of the racial tensions. So I'm interested, different country, different culture, different political ideas, and yet he's speaking on the very same things that we've been speaking on. So please introduce our wonderful guest here today, Sandy.
Let's do it. So our guest today is a 29-year-old with a lot to say, and a lot of people are listening and paying attention. Michael McCarthy is a content creator from Ireland who began making videos just in August. In that very short period of time, his work has gained significant reach, resonating with people across Europe who share his message. Michael is speaking out about ideas that have become increasingly suppressed in today's society. Topics that can cost you your job or earn you labels like racist or bigot for simply questioning the narrative. Let's welcome Michael McCarthy.
Welcome, Michael. Great to have you here.
How is everyone?
Welcome to All In
Magazine. Here, we're kind of jazzed up about this conversation.
You already, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't get banned. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like you took a bag and you shook all the hot topics. Said, which one am I going to talk about today?
Yeah. I picked the worst videos I see and throw them on. And look at this, guys.
How do you find those, by the way? That's a good question. How do you find these videos that you share that are so, like, you've got to be kidding? Because that was going through my mind as I'm watching your Instagram channel. It's like, how does he find these things?
Yeah. I'm lucky because I'm interested in it. Like years ago, I would have seen them pop up and I'd be saving them, being like, oh, look, this is crazy. And now I have a platform where I can talk about them. So X and Instagram usually is where I find them.
Okay, so X has gone through a big change. It wasn't very easy to get banned there for a while. Now it's not so easy to get banned. Which one do you find is more forgiving?
X definitely. Like X is more lenient on what you can post. Instagram is still good. It's decent, but it's still it's blurry what you can post and what you can't.
We do feel that way, yeah. No, so I'm curious. A lot of people that don't know you, right? You've got an incredible following that you've managed somehow to since August till now. It's just insane. Yeah. But with that said, my first thing to you, and I'm going to ask it here: where did you come from? Like, what made you say, "I'm going to say something"?
Yeah, it was kind of. How would you say it? I suppose it was I was looking around and there was nobody saying what I wanted to hear, from Ireland, maybe England as well. Europe doesn't really have the same presence America would have in terms of right-wing content, or I say right-wing, but it's more just common sense content. That's what I consider it. So I wanted that voice or that media presence in Ireland. And then I was like, who am I waiting for? Why don't I start it? And that's where it comes from.
I love that. It's the somebody should do something and then realizing you're the somebody.
That's it. Yeah, I'm a young man. Like, who am I expecting to do it? You know.
So what got your passion all stirred up on nationalism and all these things that you talk about? Because a guy your age doesn't talk about that just to have fun. So what lit the fire?
Yeah, it's kind of when you see things get worse rather than better, that's when you start to get a bit frustrated. You get angry because I envision, like with Ireland, I believe we're in the 21st century, it's 2025. I believe everyone's life should be very good, you know, and at this stage now in Ireland, young people have it very hard to afford a house. A lot of them are emigrating to Australia where there's better opportunities. And I'm thinking, really, like, do we still have to emigrate at this day and age? And then to not afford a house, to not be able to start a family when it would be great. Like, I've lived abroad a lot, and you go to Vietnam and stuff, you look around and there's so many young couples with young families, they have kids walking around. That's non-existent in Ireland. You won't see it.
It's just too hard.
Yeah. There's just no young families. Yeah. Too hard. They can't afford a house. They can't afford to have children.
Well, you have one video that I was fascinated with among a few, but there was one that you talked about the number of people that are coming from other countries and bringing their culture into your country of Ireland and realizing that at some point, not that far in the future, that somebody who has a child today will be sitting in a classroom that they are only 1/3
100%
Irish. And 2/3 of that classroom is going to be from somewhere else, and that culture will be lost. Does that kind of send a chill down your spine to think that it could be lost?
Like, it sends, when you think about it logically and you envision that, it does it for me. That's why I'm kind of confused by everyone else. I'm thinking, does that not bother you? Does that, like, my big stick with this is I want European cultures to remain intact. Like, I want to go to England and actually say English culture, not culture from, say, Africa or the Middle East or anywhere else in Europe. I want English culture. Same with Scotland, France, Belgium, wherever it might be, Germany. I want to go there and be surrounded by the natives. And this idea of multiculturalism or having everyone the same, it destroys that uniqueness.
Okay, so let me jump in there because the United States is known as the great melting pot.
Yeah.
So you're going completely the opposite way. You don't want the melting pot. You want the 100%. Individuals to stay the same. How much pushback do you get on that? Because that's hard.
That is hard. And it's a hard point to argue too, because people look to America and they go, but it works in America. And then you have to kind of argue why it wouldn't work here.
On something.
And what is that? What do you say? Why would it not work there?
Well, America was built. See, I don't believe it works in America either. I'll be honest. I don't believe like you can have multiple cultures living beside each other and for them to live in harmony. Like you shouldn't have a Christian neighborhood and say, do you know what this Christian neighborhood needs? It needs 10 Muslims. Yeah. Like, it's like, how does that make sense? You know, They need diversity. It just creates infight, and diversity is differences, and differences essentially push us all apart. That's why I'm so against diversity.
Well, but you also talked in one of your videos about the idea of when you do jump to another country, you do go find your own native people. You instinctively look for the Polish people, look for Polish people.
100%.
Germans look for Germans. You go find them instead of melting in. What's that all about?
Yeah, self-segregation. Like, it's Irish people. Irish people would go on holidays to another country, a beautiful country, and they'll look around and be like, where's the nearest Irish pub? You know? Like, guys, come on. What are you abroad for? You know? And
why do you think we do that? Why do you think we say we want to go experience it?
Yeah.
We retreat to our own people. Why is that?
Because I know you know this, but they're our own people. They're what we're familiar with, you know, and that happens with every group. Like, you'll have Nigerians come to Ireland and they'll live all amongst each other. They'll find a neighborhood where they say, right, this is where all the Nigerians live, and they'll all just segregate themselves to that neighborhood. It's the same with like churches over in America and stuff. There's predominantly African American churches, and you have like 90% African Americans.
Yes.
Every culture does it.
They're fun to go visit, but I don't think I would ever say, hey, let me get 25 of my white friends and go try to take over a congregation.
Exactly, yeah. Or think, do you know what this place needs? 25 white people, you know? There's not enough.
They're all blonde like Sandy, white and blonde like Sandy.
Yeah. Imagine.
It just makes no sense, so I totally understand.
Makes no sense, yeah.
So what is the secret behind you doing this magic growth on Instagram, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Where I look and I see the number of folks that you've got that are following you and watching your videos, and it's incredible. And then to find out you've done this all since August.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there are people that are trying to get attention on social media that are looking at you going, how did he do this? What do you attribute to?
I think it's persistence. There was one day, like I started off, I'd always upload 3 videos a day. So that's what I would aim to do. And I missed one Sunday going back 5 months ago, and I seen it just like kind of dip, you know, the viewership dip. And I was like, okay, that's it. Not missing any other day. So from there, I did every day I would upload something, and it was 3 at the start. Then I watched a video on Instagram, and it was an Indian company that were getting over a billion views a month. And it was like, what's your secret? You know, what's the secret? And they said, we post 100 videos a day. And people were like, wait a minute, does that make sense? Because you think if you're posting a lot, people won't want to watch, and it drops and engagement is low. But he goes, no, it works. And then I upped it up to maybe 7-6 videos a day.
Wow.
Every day. And yeah.
That's counter to what Sandra and I both coach people on. It's completely counter. We say maybe 1 or 2 because you don't want to annoy people.
Exactly. That's what I taught.
Brain dump. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's exactly what I taught. I taught high quality, low amount. You know, put a lot of effort into the one rather than just throw out lots of them. But turns out you just throw them out. Just split them up, throw them out, whatever you're thinking, bang, bang, bang. And now at this stage, it's 100 million views a month I'm getting. Crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Hands down. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So the other thought is with this is, would you recommend to somebody to start fresh and new and do it that way? Scrap your old channel and start brand new and just blow people away, or just regrow the channel you've already got? Because there is an expectation. We already know you. Versus we don't know you.
That's interesting. Yeah. Like they're used to it. Yeah. It might be a good idea. Like they could start a new profile, and hopefully they have all their videos saved, and they could just start uploading maybe 3 new ones and 3 old ones every day. Do that for a few months. There's also, I was talking to my friend about this, a bit of insider information about the algorithm. My viewership was like this at one point, and then at some point it was like 3 months in or something, I must have hit some threshold, and all of a sudden all my videos started getting pushed, and it must be like something in the algorithm. I mean, it shot up, absolutely shot up.
That's interesting.
So there's
unless
something
you're on the
there.
Inside. Yeah, unless you're on the inside.
Yes.
I want to ask a personal, like, motivational question, like your motivation.
Yes.
So to be so fearless, it seems, in speaking out. I mean, I realize it took you a second to go, oh, that should be me, right?
Yeah.
But there are a lot of folks that are raised, and my parents said to me, don't stand out, which is horrible advice. And I go against that completely now when I'm talking to people. But they don't stand out. You know, whatever you do, fit in, don't bring attention to yourself. And so what was your upbringing like? What was your environment like when you were growing up that kind of gave you the strength to be able to say, no, I'm going to be the one?
That's a tough one.
Were you told that you could say that you could make a difference, or were you told just the opposite and you're rebelling against it?
That's hard to know. I think I've always been a bit outspoken and a bit out there. I've never kind of fit in. I've always been a bit strange. That's what I would do. People, you might say, I'm a bit stupid, but a bit strange, whatever it might be. But I never liked going with the crowd, I suppose, and I would never have that in me to just walk the path everyone else is walking for the sake of it. You know, I think that's always stood with me, and I think that's where it comes from.
You're watching All In Magazine. We'll be right back in just a minute. First, this brief word from our sponsor, and we'll come right back with Michael for much more. Welcome back to All In Magazine. Sandra D. Robinson with me over on that side. Rich Bontrager here with you, and Marco McCarthy from Ireland. And we're talking about, well, let me put it this way. Is part of the reason you blown up in social media, you intentionally went after the topics that nobody else would talk about?
Yeah, I think
These
so.
are hot buttons.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the fact, it's also a love-hate issue. Like, you either love it or you hate it. And I do stir up a lot of emotions. Like, I get hundreds of messages, and a lot of them would be nice messages. We also get people losing their mind at what I'm posting. Like, they're like, how could he? You know, this is like, I should be silenced, you know?
But that fits in with the All In magazine itself. I mean, that's why it's called All In, right?
Yeah.
So like, you're not going to say, hey, maybe I'll make a little video every once in a while about something that I feel might be important. You're just going to jump right in.
100%.
And I think it's fantastic. So we're glad that you did. We're glad you don't fit in.
What have your family and friends said? What have your people closest to you said? You went too far. Can you please stop this whole racism talk? Have they come to you like that at all?
No. My family haven't really talked about it. They're not really on social media or any of that.
Do they even know what you're doing?
No, not really. No, it's not really. No.
What's some Michael doing today? I don't know, honey. I really don't know.
Yeah. Now, my cousins would know, and they'd be very supportive. And some of my friends as well, maybe 2 or 3 of my friends. But Ireland, people don't understand it. Ireland's a very liberal place too. I would have a lot of people close to me. I would say close, but people you grew up with, and they'd hate you for what you're doing. You know, they'd despise you. And it was the same during COVID. Like, when COVID was a thing, if you spoke out against what people might have been doing, they'd hate you. They'd be unfriending you, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that seems familiar to us over here in the States.
Yeah. It's crazy. People lose their minds. They lose their minds.
Well, and I read someplace that this is kind of your whole concept, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we all deserve a better world. Is that just like bumper sticker thought there, or is that really deep hardcore you believe it?
100%. I don't care where you're from, what you look like. All I want is the best for you, technically. Even if it's people from India, I want India to be the best India can be. Same with China or any place in the world. What my thing is what does that look like for Ireland? And that doesn't mean you bring in anyone and everyone and hope that we all get along, because reality shows that isn't the case. Right. You know, so we have to do things smartly. And that's kind of the goal.
So what does a better world look like for you? If you take a snapshot, what does it really boil down to, a better world?
Yeah, for Ireland, what I would love is for young people to be able to afford a house, start a family. I would love if a couple in Ireland weren't counting change at the end of the month to pay electricity bills. Instead, they had maybe money left over to start a project or go on a little getaway, whatever it might be. I just want kind of that peace of mind, that happiness, and a prospective future, you know, a better future. I feel like there's a cloud over Irish people's head, and they're very depressed. There's a depressed feeling in Ireland. You'll have to come here and check it out, because
that's not what I see on movies and TV. I think you're a fun-loving, beer-drinking, happy people.
We used to be. What's happened?
I knew.
Yeah.
Well, speaking
Sing
of
songs.
change, right? Speaking of change, if you
Yeah.
could get the ear
Mm.
or the eyes, the attention of somebody who is a decision maker,
Yeah.
who would you love to be in front of and have a discussion with?
Anyone in the world,
Yeah.
is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a hard one. It'd probably have to be the likes of probably Elon Musk. Donald Trump would be good too. I don't. They're brilliant to talk to. Well, I don't see anyone. I don't see any of our own leaders being anyway good or competent. They're useless. I'll be honest.
Is
So
that
bad.
part of the struggle that the Ireland structure, government or flow, the culture is
Yeah.
not equipped for this?
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is. It's very tough. Like we had an election in November, and you would think people would be kind of upset at the way everything's going in Ireland. But the same people got in again, and when old people were questioned or asked, why did you vote the way you did? It was like, because it's stable. You know, even if we're stable going downwards, it's stable. They don't want change. You know, people are afraid of change here.
Well, generally speaking, I think people are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's human nature, but it is, I think it's all the more reason for you to be shaking up some thought processes every once in a while.
Yeah. Getting people riled up.
Exactly.
What are you doing off of social media to get this message out? And I'm sure the social media side is very strong for you, but are you doing in person? Are you doing writing? What else are you doing?
No, not at the moment. I'm starting to build slowly. So the goal for the future is do the social media stuff. That's grand. Then I want to kind of sort out YouTube, do documentaries there, building a little community on Discord as well. But the goal is you have platforms like Turning Point and Daily Wire and all that. I want something like that out of Ireland and in Europe. So my ultimate goal is to hire personalities in and around Europe that spread the same message and then align with brands that push our message to other people as well. And hopefully that brings about change. That's the ultimate goal.
Would you ever host your own show like The Daily Show?
I would, yeah. I would.
Okay, we could see that.
No, you have the chops for it.
That's
to the producers out there, So give them a call.
Is there a topic you haven't touched that you want to, but you know it's way too far?
There's a few. The problem is I have probably views that I know might scare other people. And they're not bad, like they're not crazy. But my goal is to be the bridge from the normal person over here in Ireland who doesn't want to hear or see anything that's going on. And I just want to slowly bring them over like this. So I have to be very kind of vague and broad. I don't want to be too much on this side or they'll never come over. I have to be kind of here.
A little more pragmatic about how you're putting things out there.
Yeah. I don't want to be dismissible almost, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, but that'd be very easy to throw something out and just dismiss everyone else's opinions.
Yeah.
It sounds like you want people to get together and have a hot topic, good conversation, but not be rude to each other.
100%, yeah. 100%.
Imagine that.
What a world, huh? Yeah.
Imagine if that could actually happen.
Yeah. God, it's gone so polarized, though. My God, I don't know what's happened.
Yeah.
The world, you know.
Do you feel you're polarizing it more by sticking your thumb in it, or you think you're bringing it out and giving it a chance?
It's tough, isn't it? Because in some ways, I probably am polarizing it a bit, but I'm trying to get people to see what's in front of them. Because if I didn't post these videos, they'd never see it. Like they wouldn't have a clue what's going on. Our state broadcaster, RTE, and we have Virgin Media as well on TV. They're pushing one side, one narrative, and that's it. The normal people will never see what's happening.
I think the way you present a lot of things is you simply just present it as it is. And then you say, I mean, literally your channel's called Think About This. And so just to get people to think, I think is probably the most powerful aspect of what it is that you're doing. When our President Trump first came around the first time when he was 45, President 45, he did that. He made a lot of people angry. But I said, no matter what you want to say, he's at least getting people thinking
100%,
and thinking about what the media was presenting in front. And yes, he went crazy with name calling and all this, but it hopefully all I wanted from that entire situation is what you're doing, which is helping people to realize they can think.
Yes, have a conversation too. Are you happy too about what Monday? Are you happy? Or are you like, no?
I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm happy, but
Stay away from politics, but I'm happy that it's over. I'm happy that that it was peaceful for the most part.
Yeah.
The transition was peaceful. Now I think I'm happy to just get on with it, right? Can we just get on with it?
See, Michael, I live in Washington, D.C.
Oh, in the thick of it.
It never ends here. The election may have ended, but it never ends here.
Wow, yeah.
So, like Sandra, I'm happy that that part is over. I'm happy that we have a guy that's not afraid to speak his mind, the lead. But again, the fear is where is he going to lead us? Because he has said some pretty crazy things. Now, like with you, is he doing it to get attention to listen?
Yeah.
Or is he doing it because he believes he can really rename the Panama Canal? Which is it?
It's so interesting, isn't it? I'm like, will it change? Won't it change? And Greenland too. What's going to happen with that?
Yeah, we're going to buy Greenland apparently.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So some people can think that too, and some people can think you're just doing it to get the attention whore.
Yeah.
But are you doing it for the right reasons? As a secondary, people have to hear your heart. You have to understand why you're doing it. And like Sandra said, I think through your videos, your conversational style, I think it comes across that you're trying to be informative, you're trying to be curious, and I think you're trying to start the conversation that few are afraid to talk about. Is that more accurate?
100%. Yeah. Now I can probably sometimes, obviously, it's not perfect. I look at the videos I put out. Sometimes I'm like, is it good? Is it gosh? But it's to have that conversation that people. I want someone to grab a video like that, be able to send it to maybe their mother, their cousin, brother, and be like, "What do you think of this?"
Talk about it.
Yeah, talk about it. What do you think of this? Can't believe this is going on, and they talk about it.
Yes. I think that's also one of the bases for All In Magazine too. It's just to get people thinking, getting people talking about things that they wouldn't normally talk about, different perspectives. And so all of those things are exactly what you're bringing to the table. So
when it comes to that concept of going all in on tough topics, what would you say to someone watching this? Because there are people that want to do great things, but they're afraid of opening up their mouth and stepping up. What's it all about?
It's frustrating. I don't know why people are so scared. It's shocking to me. People are terrified nowadays, and
they're terrified of counterculture. They're cancel culture. They're terrified of it.
They're frozen in fear that they actually won't speak their mind. And the fact we're in this place in society is terrible. Like, I don't think people realize there's I get so many messages saying, I agree with your views, but they can't say it. They can't even, a lot of them can't even follow my page, because if they follow my page, they'll be seeing, oh my God, he's following this guy. He believes that. And it's nonsense.
Right?
They're like wanting to push yes, but no. I'm so confused. What do I do, Michael? Help me.
It's like, do I become a racist when I press follow? It's like, come on, guys, get a grip.
Michael, we do want to share. This is your link to your Instagram. So again, what are they best going to find when they go to and they're going to see videos? So introduce your channel. Yeah,
so you can click on it, have a look. There'll be a video that probably will upset you. It doesn't. At some stage, I attack everyone, I think. But it's just to look at what's going on in Europe, look at the degeneracy that is happening. And our aim is to create a better world where people are safe. Children, girls can walk to school on their own. They can walk home from nights out. They feel safe in their neighborhoods. And there's harmony in society where we all get on. And I just want to create a better world for everyone. That's the goal.
And if he's not ticking you off a little bit, he probably hasn't done his job, right, Sandra?
Exactly. But it's what you just said is so beautiful. And there was a little piece of me that said, could we ever have that again? It's like in our mind in the United States in the 50s, that's how it was, right? But honestly, I think when Rich and I grew up, it wasn't that much different. I was outside playing, like I felt safe. There was none of this, and so there is a piece of me that says, wow, what you just painted is so beautiful. Is it possible?
It is. It is possible, but it's only possible if we do the things we don't want to do and say the things that might be, people might be afraid to say. You have to do the things that are difficult to create.
Michael McCarthy, that's been great. Thank you for being with us today. We could probably go much longer than this because this is a great topic. You've kind of opened up the can of worms. So thanks, Michael, for being with us soon.
Thanks, Rich and Sandra, as well. Michael. Great talking to you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Keep up the good work, Mr. Michael McCarthy.
So, Sandra, what do you think about this? You were just touching upon it, but what if we could?
Yeah. What if we could, right? And what if it was real? What if the idea of having a peaceful society, and Ireland, it feels like Ireland, and England, it feels like England, and United States that feels, what should we say? We're diverse. That's how we're born, but peaceful.
Well,
like I have to believe that that's possible. I have to believe that's possible.
But again, I think it starts with being willing to ask the questions that are awkward, uncomfortable, like Michael's doing. I think someone's got to be willing to say, hey, we're going to talk tonight about blank. And here's a couple of ground rules. We're not going to get angry. We're not going to call names. We're not going to lash out. We're not going to light anything on fire, but we're going to talk about it and hear the perspectives. I think that's where we start, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, any conflict resolution expert will tell you that it may look like people are on two totally different aspects of their perspective of the world. And then eventually there is some common ground in the middle there that everybody wants, that they both want. And that common ground is what I think conversation, like what Michael is bringing to the table. I think that conversation has to be had, or that common ground's never going to be found. So it may be uncomfortable for a little bit, but if what we really want to do is build that better world so that, in Ireland and here in the United States, if we can have young people that can afford to have a family and we're not much different, as far as not being able to afford, young people not being able to afford their first house. And it's really challenging. And so wouldn't that be awesome if we can actually initiate the change? That's going to mean having some awkward conversations.
I was told once, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Hey, that's Sandra D. Robinson. I'm Rich Bontrager. Thanks for being with us for this edition of All In Magazine. We'll be back next month with another great in-depth, unscripted, and very personal conversation. Right, Sandra?
We will be. We'll see you then.